Three, two, one, let's go! We are back. His response was priceless. That will definitely be on the show. Go ahead. Yeah, Skippo, we are here. We're sitting down with Christof Stork for our first show of the evening on Tuesday, day 2 of 2019 URTeC. URTeC is the place where we congregate as professionals, engineers, and geoscientists come together in one place from around the world. And we listen to other people's hypotheses, right, and other ideas, and these technologies, and we all come here with a plan to become more economic and become better at what we do, and that's providing energy, efficient energy to the world. That's the bottom line. The byproduct is a lot of money involved. The technology and the sciences are front lines. I mean, the ideas that we apply to try to figure out reservoirs is high-level science and engineering. So we're on the front lines of something that's incredibly economic, as well as pushing the lines of technology. And Christof, I mean, really your story is the front lines of technology today. Like, that's where you live, that's where you think, and that's what you do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're trying to push the technology forward, and it's actually changing quite a bit, but we don't know where it's going to change. So it's exciting. Everyone proposes their ideas, and then we see what wins.
That's right.
That's what it's about.
Well,
I mean, in the conventional, right? Mm-hmm. We have these technologies, and some of them are transferring over to unconventional, some of them aren't. And I feel like now we're really starting to weed out, right? What is actually working and what's actually carrying over and what's actually, hey, maybe we can leave that in the past. Maybe we don't need to move forward with that idea.
Right.
Yeah, it is a harsh climate out there. I've seen lots of people laid off because people's skills are no longer useful.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's an adaptation problem, I think. That's a psychology problem. Okay, so what is the development exactly? Your career academically into your career is developing into who Christof is today. What were some major milestones? And then we'll get into your presentation.
Well, I'm a geophysicist, and that's a combination of math and geology. And those were my passions when I was a kid. So I've been in this field for a long time. What's interesting is that when I was young, about 30 years ago, geophysicists were effectively king. And they were the most important people involved in finding the oil.
Yeah.
But things have changed now, and then the geophysicists have been almost sidelined.
Wow.
And a lot of people have left the fields.
Wow.
And but I'm not ready to give up. I think it still has a role to play. And we need to be more economic. People have sidelined geophysics because they just went and drilled as fast as they could, but now their economics are starting to get hurt. And
they are.
Drill the wells. We'll get the geophysics later, right? Yeah. We'll get the seismic data. We'll get the grav mag later, and then we can use it to avoid some sort of hazard, right? But at that point, it's too late. You drill 5, or you're trying to do 40-acre spacing. You drill 8 wells in a section. You lose 5 of them because of your.
Which is happening.
Which is happening because you decided to not go ahead and get that data first to de-risk the play.
Yeah, I mean, well, and the hardest problem is that we're almost in a time right now, in our opinion, in my opinion, that we're only as good as our last data point. We don't have the ability to make the predictions to prevent those bad wells. We would certainly do that. It's against our interest to drill bad wells. But if we don't drill it, we don't really know what it's made out of yet, right? We're still in that world geologically. Our geologic conceptions of depositional environments and these muds and how they change, the heterogeneity in these unconventional plays across that timeline of that mud is not there. We don't have those concepts of why that heterogeneity is changing, and if you go that way, it's going to change this way, and if you go that way, it's going to change in this way. We don't have that ability right now.
Yeah, that's right. The reservoirs are clearly heterogeneous, but and in the past, that hasn't been that important. You might have a strong variability in how much the wells produce, but they were all somewhat economic. But now we're in a tighter economics regime, and we need to figure out which are going to be the good wells, where are going to be the sweet spots, and how are we going to frack the wells.
Yeah,
exactly.
So as you are on the front lines of technology, is this what this presentation is really talking about? Are we going to go dive into kind of the front lines of geophysics and our ability to interpret and what we really can do with this?
I'm not going to dive that deeply down. That would be a bit much.
Okay.
Let's do it. We're just trying to see
the Cliff Notes version.
Let's go 10, 15 minutes and let's wrap it.
We're going to dip our toes in. We're not fully committed yet, right? We're just testing the waters. But.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah. But then here on the slide, you can see this slide is from about 100 years ago, and it's actually from the Permian Basin. So this is what things looked like, and you can imagine that was incredibly inefficient, drilling all these wells. But if you look at what's done today, we drill a lot of horizontal wells. It's kind of the same thing, except it's underground.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yep. I mean, right here, it's like whether it's the carpet method or whether it's the tank method or the cube method, whatever pipe you're smoking, right?
Right.
It's one surface location. You can put 16 well bores into the ground.
Right. As we need to be doing that. Less surface damage. We got to decrease the health, safety, and environmental aspect of what we do, and that's also interest of ours. It's against our interest to destroy anything on the surface of the earth if we don't have to.
Oh yeah, this is clearly more environmental. But this is still inefficient. It's expensive to drill all those wells and to frack them.
You're looking at probably, what, $250 million worth of drilling?
Hey, 3 pads, man.
Maybe more. $500 million? $500 million in the ground right there?
I would say probably on the order of 100 million, maybe.
Oh, come on. I'm going $500 million. Can we take a poll right now? Everyone look at the screen. And I'm saying that if you drilled and completed all those wells, if that was your money, is that a $500 million project or is that a $150 million project? Christof is saying that's going to be more around $100 million. I'm saying that's a $500 million plan. I mean, how many horizontals? You're talking, look at everybody counting the horizontals. How many? We got 56 horizontals, 7,500-foot laterals, 75, how much? 7.5 million? This is Wolf Camp, sweet spot. 7.5 million, it's not 10 to drill and complete. Oh, not if you're doing it right. Okay, 7.5 million. Somebody put it in. 7.5 million times 56. Let's hear it. What's the number?
It's about 380 million.
I was closer. Christof, you owe me a shot. Drink some whiskey, sir. That was the deal.
I'll do it at the end.
All right, deal. Okay, let's move on. I'm
you
sorry.
were closer.
Let's plug along.
And if you look at these wells, so here the color represents how much oil a well produced. And this is from the Bakken in North Dakota. There's a lot of variability in how much oil these wells produced. So if you can high grade your wells, you can significantly improve your efficiency.
Okay.
If you can drill half of those wells and get almost as much oil out.
That's right. A quarter of the wells is what I'm going for.
Well, yeah.
So your recovery factor off the cuff, you're saying probably everything in blue is somewhere between 5 to 10% recovery factors. Everything outside of that is something less than 5% recovery factor.
Yeah, that's
wow. Yeah, we could do a lot better than that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
So this is an old style seismic image, and what you see is a map of the reflections and depth, and that's what we can produce with seismology. And you see near the bottom, you see some yellow spots.
Yeah. No, there's bright spots. This is very conventional style looking at seismic. Yeah. What are we getting at here?
Yeah, so this is kind of the old style of how we could find oil, drill it, so we could identify good wells with geophysics, with seismology.
Yeah.
But we can't do this in unconventionals because the reservoirs are more complex.
Oh, yeah.
So let me skip this, but this is an example of what our unconventional reservoirs look like, and there's a lot going on here. There's fractures, there's layering, there's lithology changes.
So you're telling me this isn't layer cake?
And you also you also definitely have to take in the fact that we are looking at this at the surface. That exact same rock under 12,000 feet of overburden, plus the heat and everything else, what does that really look like? It certainly doesn't look like that. Guaranteed.
That's a good point.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, not many people know what that looks like
No,
underground.
nobody does. The drill bits kind of do. The mud loggers certainly do, but they're just saying, oh, that was kind of sandy, that was silty, this was kind of muddy.
I put a little HCl on it, it reacted.
Yeah, it was kind of dolomitey. Anyway, let's get it. I like it.
Yeah. So with geophysics in the past, we've generally only produced a little bit of information. We call those attributes. And the attributes tell us about the geology in the ground. And in the past, we've produced maybe 2 or 4 attributes. And a nice analogy, you may have heard of this game of where you have a bunch of blind people analyzing an elephant. And if they don't talk to each other, they all think it's something totally different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, one you can see if you look at the legs, where if you look at the tail or the trunk. So you don't get a complete picture. You've got to really integrate all your information, and you need more information.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So you obviously understand the fundamentals of kind of where we're at in the industry, our ability to integrate now, the future of integration and how it needs to be improved. We cannot decipher a problem if we're all blind looking at one piece of it. We get that concept. We certainly understand the development in technology, but where are you right now? Where is technology right now? And what are you focusing on?
well, seismology right now is giving us 2 to 4 attributes. So what I'm saying is that's not enough to give us a full picture of the reservoirs, the complex reservoirs. We need to get more from the seismic data.
Yeah.
And this is why seismic data isn't being used right now. We need more attributes, and then seismic data will be able to help the engineers.
Okay. And are you working on that technology? Are you trying to figure out different
That's
ways?
That's exactly what I'm working on, yeah.
You're trying to figure out different ways to either the acquisition design at the surface with the vibra sizes and the receivers, that pattern, and then the actual physics of reflecting that sound back to the receivers and capturing that, the processing of seismic. How do you do it? How do you get better? What is your plan?
Better physics, bigger computers, more data, smarter algorithms.
Cool.
Better analysis of the data.
Here's a really cool thing. We had Steve Jumper, the CEO of Dawson Geophysical, on the show.
Oh.
850 square mile seismic shoot. It's being shot in Midland. It's half of it's over the Central Basin platform, half it's over the basin, and it has how many traces? How many traces?
Oh my
it was
gosh,
100 million,
something like that. 1.5 billion.
or was it billion?
It was billion.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
believe it.
1.5
the
billion
highest
traces.
effort. It's going to be the most resolution, the biggest fault ever to be shot in the Permian Basin. That's happening right now with I think Fairfield's shooting it. Fairfield is
Processing it.
Yeah, okay, processing. That's right.
Yeah.
Dawson shot it. Fairfield's processing it. Faskin and others are all involved. And that's going to be a fascinating data set, certainly for someone like you.
Yeah, and then that's a good start. Getting more data helps, but that in itself won't solve the problem. Some people do think the big hammer approach of just getting more data will solve the problem, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I agree.
I
All right,
agree.
man. I think that's it. That's the wrap for the first show of day 2.
I think so.